You know, a lot of people find this hard to believe given the shit-fuckety nature of what I do now, but I spent most of my adult life working with kids. And I need to emphasize the with, right? I wasn't a priest. I didn't work kids. I worked with kids. In fact, I was kind of like the opposite of a Catholic priest. I liked kids because I can't say no to them. You know? What I mean to say is that I'm a sucker for kids, but not in a moil way. See, I got 10 nieces and nephews, 2 of whom have kids of their own at this point, and they all figured me out pretty quick. Or if there was one particular video game they wanted, or they wanted to go see a movie and nobody would take them, or they're selling some useless shit for their school band or whatever, I'm their first mark. And as often as not, I'm their last mark because I'm putty in their fucking hands and they know it. And it's not just the kids I know either. You know, I've purchased more magazine subscriptions, half-melted Milky Way bars, and tins of old lady cookies than I can count. What's that? You're selling 50-cent candy bars for $2 so your basketball team can go to regionals? Give me 3 of them. Oh, you guys, you're washing cars to raise money for the school's music program? Go ahead and wash it twice, I guess. When you got their Thin Mints? Give me 6 abortions worth, I guess. You know, kids are like the kryptonite to my powers of assholery, and unfortunately, it seems like Lex Luthor's catching on. Right, cut to last Wednesday. I make a quick run to the store to pick up enough caffeine to get me through the weekly overnight or get my headphones in, so I'm kind of focused on the podcast that I'm listening to. Don't even notice the little church group in the parking lot until I'm out of the car and halfway to the door. So out of nowhere, this adorable little 7-year-old blonde girl in pigtails comes marching up to me with a stack of Jesus books in her hand and a determined look on her face. Now, to be honest, I missed the first couple lines of her pitch fumbling with my headphones, but the gist of it was something like, my church wants money and you're less likely to say no if we employ really cute slave labor to get it. And she was pretty good, right? She was looking me in the eye most of the time. She put the product in my hand. She commanded the conversation. She had good technique. And she's doing that little kid fast, excited talking thing. You know, that thing where they just keep going until they run themselves completely out of breath and they take a long breath at some random mid-sentence point and then kick right back into full speed. And every sentence sounds kind of like a question even though it isn't. And she's bobbing her little head to the pronouns. And I'm thinking, how the fuck am I going to say no to this paroxysm of cuteness? Look, this little girl could have been selling roadkill for cigarette money and I probably would have bought some, but there's no fucking way I'm giving money to a church youth group. So as sweet as I could, I says, you don't have any atheist books, do you? And then she frowned, and a Care Bear gasped, and a fairy lost its wings, and the wicked witch of the forest cackled with delight, and I felt like I just told her there was no farm for old dogs upstate. And so I'm all conciliatory all of a sudden, right? I'm going like, but you're doing a great job, and good luck, and I'm sure you'll do it, and don't cry, or I'll have to run myself through with a cow catcher. And the whole time, the 2 grown-ups are standing 20 feet away from me, yeah, I guess ready to pounce if they hear me say, can you say Euthyphro dilemma, boys and girls? But otherwise happy to exploit their adorably ignorant litter of indentured servants with completely clear consciences. My conscience, on the other hand, was having a little bit of trouble with this. Because as I walked away from that situation, and for a couple of days afterwards, I kept asking myself how I should have handled it. I mean, maybe I did the right thing. You know, maybe that little girl learned for the first time that some people don't believe in God, so maybe I can pat myself on the back for planting that seed, but ultimately, I just feel complicit. You know, I saw an immoral thing happening. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't walk up to the grown-ups and ask them how grotesque this would seem to them if I had a bunch of other people's kids selling atheist books to support this podcast or something. I didn't ask the little girl how much money she got to keep if she sold any books. Hell, I even encouraged her. I told her she was doing a good job. See, to doubt or no, I actually played a small part in her brainwashing. You know, I spent a couple of days wrestling with this because this isn't some one-off situation, right? The last couple of times would-be evangelists showed up at my door, they were kids. I will absolutely find myself in this same situation again with some little kid selling me some Jesus, and I don't want to walk away feeling like an accomplice next time. In fact, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I'd rather walk away feeling like an asshole. At least I'm used to that. So you know what? That's my solution. Ultimately, that's where I landed. What should I have done? What should I have said? I should have smiled at the little girl and said, oh, that's nice, honey, but God and Jesus aren't real. They're just one of those things parents lie to kids about. I should have just handed her that ticking time bomb and said, here, give this to your mom or your dad or your pastor or whoever wants to take first crack at diffusing it. Now, I know some people would say that's going too far, you know. After all, how would I feel if some religious parents started telling my kids that there was a God, right? How can it be fair for me but not for them? Well, we can start with the fact that what I'm saying conforms to all the demonstrable shit that we know. You know, you can't claim a moral equivalency between a harmful lie and a liberating truth. But beyond that, my kid wouldn't be marching up to some stranger at the gas station trying to sell him letters to a Christian nation. They're the ones that put their children into the public arena of belief, not me. And if they did so thinking that the atheists and rationalists would just play along, it's probably because we've been playing along for too long. I mean, think about it. Children don't teach things to adults, so why are they sending kids out to do this shit in the first place? The only purpose it can serve is to disarm us and alleviate any obligation to justify the harmful lies their faith propagates. It's a dishonest and disgusting ploy, and I feel like it wouldn't take that many atheists calling their bluff before they stop doing it altogether. And even if it served no purpose but to make some little girl cry and not want to sell Jesus books anymore, I'd still feel like I'd done the right thing. She's going to get over it, and maybe her parents will know if they want somebody to help the priest exploit their child, they're going to have to do it themselves.